people, but
This is the Roundtable Talk podcast, brought to you in part by Rayford Guns, the Hoke County edition of the North State Journal, the Libra Initiative of North Carolina, and our flagship station, WCLN Christian 105.7. And now here are your hosts, Ruben Castellon and Chris Holland.
All right. Welcome to the Roundtable Talk podcast. I'm Ruben Castellon.
And Chris Holland.
And welcome to episode 162.
162. There you go. Hey, so how was your 4th of July?
Man, it was hot.
Tell me about it. I got out of the airport about 1:30 on Saturday, and we didn't leave out of there until after 11.
We went, my wife and I went to this place on Stedman. We got invited a while back and we committed to it. So, and I'm glad I asked.
You needed an umbrella?
No, I asked. I said, "Is this an indoor or outdoor activities?" And then my wife texted her friend and said, "Yeah, we're gonna have tents outside." So I had to change my attire and everything, because when you're outside and you're wearing dark collars, you're taking in the full force of the sun,
I was wearing this all day.
Exactly. So I tell you what, we got there about 3, somewhere around there. We stayed there to about 6:30, maybe 7 o'clock. And I tell you what, the whole time I was soaked.
Yep.
But the good news is that I wasn't the only one that was soaked.
Yeah, we had the cornhole tournament, and then the selling hot dogs and setting up and all that stuff, and it just got.
You mean you had to grill hot dogs as hot as it was?
Well, we didn't start grilling hot dogs till about 5 o'clock, but yeah, at 5 o'clock I was standing by a grill.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I'm telling you know how you tell if you're dehydrated, right, with your urine?
Yeah.
I wasn't peeing clear till Monday.
Oh man!
I mean, I was drinking water by the gallon all weekend. It was
when I got
crazy.
home, and really I wasn't moving. I was just sitting down, eating, drinking Kool-Aid, whatever they had right there. It was a non-alcoholic event thing, so everything it's all homemade stuff. And I'll tell you what, I didn't stop drinking, and I don't think I recover until the next day from where I felt that I wasn't dehydrated anymore.
Same way.
So it was rough, but it's not strange. This is not the first 4th of July that's been like this.
Right.
I was really glad that it wasn't like the last 2 4th of July. Remember, it was raining.
Yep.
So it's like, is this the new trend? So clearly it's not.
Right.
If I had to choose between the heat and the rain, I choose the
Definitely
heat.
the heat. Yeah.
You get to do things, So, anyways, what you got?
All right. So let's talk about the budget. So we have
just to clarify, we're talking about the state budget.
Well, let's talk about the county budget first.
Okay.
So I got both.
Okay.
And so I had the county budget is 10 pages.
Okay.
All right. Well, 11 pages if you count the last page with the seal. But going through this, I just had some things that I wanted to highlight. So this is the largest budget in the history of Hoke County, $84,447,715. $84 million for Hoke County.
And you got to realize, I'm just going to put it out there, you got to realize government agencies have grown more.
Have grown enormously, yep. What we're particular interest, public schools, is $12,201,417. And that's with a estimate, or what did I find that? $863 per student.
Per student.
Yeah. At a 9,600 head count. It's a little over $1.5 million or whatever it was. But one thing that we're talking about some forecast is that for capital outlay or capital expenditure, the school board can look at $2 million in lottery fund money.
Yeah.
And
so we're going to have to start
using. Did y'all ask for that?
Well, we don't have, the people don't know this, but a side note, those that are going to be running for the school board, they're going to learn that, you don't have the power that you think you have. And one of the powers you don't have is the power of the purse. As a matter of fact, it's been, to me, it's been an uncomfortable situation where I felt at times that we have to beg for money.
Right.
And to me, it's an embarrassment system, to be honest with you.
Right.
I know, speaking to other board members from other states, some like Illinois, as an example, the school system, the school districts themselves, they have their own budget. They don't depend on the county commissioners. But then again, I don't know if the other states have also county commissioners too. So
Right.
it
Right.
might be
how their local
yeah,
governments are
I
set
don't know
up.
how the
Yeah.
local government is structured over there. So assuming it's similar to North Carolina, some states, the school districts, they budget their own money, and I can see more positives on that. And to me, the very few times, granted, I've only been there for 4 years, so basically 4 budgets, and it's been an uncomfortable situation. And I'm speaking for myself, but it's been an uncomfortable situation to where I felt that we have to beg for money.
Right.
And to me, that's an embarrassment.
I've seen some of the presentations.
But then again, playing devil's advocate, I can understand the county commissioner's point of view because they don't have money just pouring down.
Well, they got 84 million.
Yeah,
of it.
but still, they don't have, in comparison to other counties,
Right.
Like say our near Moore County, Cumberland County. I mean, they got basically a Walmart in every major road in Cumberland County, and so we don't have the revenue that other big counties have, and so I wish we did, but yeah, that to me. We didn't get some of the stuff we wanted, and I wasn't expecting for us to get it. But if we don't ask, we know what the answer is.
Right. Well, and that's what I was going to ask you to explain this. So it's 12,201,000 is on the county budget, but how much of that comes from the state? It's like a pass.
Well, you got to
right?
realize the certified teachers, their salary comes from the state.
From the state. And now is that part of this 12 million that the county's figuring? That's what I'm saying. So when you go through this, it doesn't even have a section for the
Yeah, I don't.
Education.
If memory serves me right, I don't think it is. That is for everything dealing with the school, like the local budget, because a lot of people don't understand. The school district pays out of local funds for X amount of employees.
Right.
So
the lottery fund's supposed to pay for none.
No, I'm gonna tell you, we don't. Well, it's my understanding, and this is just my interpretation of what I've been given. It's my understanding that we're gonna have to use the lottery money for capital projects.
Okay.
And so basically any project that we have to do, again, we're going to have to go and ask
Right.
for the money that's ours. So that does not include money for projects.
Okay.
In the past, we did.
And so in that budget, they're talking about $1 million for capital outlay.
That's going to come from the lottery.
Okay. But by the state statute, the lottery money is also used to pay for school bus drivers. It's also school for custodial personnel, groundskeeping, stuff like that, as well as what you say, capital outlay for repairs, maintenance, stuff like that. So I just wonder what this $12 million, where does it come from? Because the county's only chipping in $1.5 million. Lottery money's $2 million. That's $3 million, and this county's saying that we're paying $12 million towards education. Where are the numbers coming from?
Well, some of that is $800 and some if you multiply that by X amount
That's
of students.
1.5 million.
Yeah.
That's a little, almost $1.5 million.
So
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. So those two, lottery and local contribution, is about $3 million.
And the other stuff, I mean, I will have to look at the codes, but when we, so basically, it's my understanding that we ask from items 1 through 10 for the to keep it simple. We ask for items 1 through 10 to the county commissioners, and they do their budget analysis, this and that, and then let's say we ask for $15 million for all these different items. and then the county commissioner says, yeah, we're just going to give you $12 million. How we spend that money is almost entirely up to us, with the exception of a few things.
Some restricted items.
Y-
You can only
yes.
spend it for certain. No, and I understand
So,
that exactly.
so to get a breakdown, the breakdown will come down on us once we get the money
$12 million.
allocated. Then the finance officer, under the supervision of the superintendent, will say, okay, this much money is going to go here, blah, blah,
Right.
and then when we get the briefing, it'll be coded. And
Right.
I there's too many codes.
No, I understand what you're saying, but that's what me as just an observer reading this, and especially after reading the state budget. The state budget's 653 pages. Hoke County is 10.
Yeah.
This is spending 48 million. We're
Yeah.
34 billion for the state. But my question, like I said, just stepping back, is when you put the figures of 1.5 from local, supplement,
Right.
2 million lottery, and the county's saying they're paying 12. Where's that other 12 coming from? Is it local taxpayers? Is it state funds? Is it federal funds? And then if they're only giving you 12 or 10 and it says they're paying 12, where's the other 2?
Yeah.
There's not enough transparency in these documents for somebody to,
Well,
the common person to
and
sit
that's
down.
because that goes back again to the district asking for 10 different items as an example, and we're asking for 15 million, and the county commissioner comes back and says, we're only giving you 12. Now it's going to be up to the school district to divvy out that
Right.
those 12 million.
I understand how you're going to allocate your portion of the funds.
To answer your statement about transparency, that's when on our side, that's where you get the transparency, because it's broken down by codes. It's a few pages
Right.
of everything that's allocated. And the other thing that people don't know is that those $12 million, it also covers those, I want to say 600 and some students that we lost to
Right.
private schools or charters.
Right.
We're still paying. How much is that? I don't know.
Right. So what you're saying is this 12 million includes federal and state funding that's passed through the county.
Pretty much,
Okay.
except for the lottery money.
Right.
Because it's my understanding, of course, we'll know for sure soon, but it's my understanding, based on what I read, was that the lottery money is now going to be specifically used, or
Earmarked for the-
we're going to be forced to specifically use the lottery money for capital projects. Not no more, and not too long ago, it was where we could ask, as an example, we asked $116,000, I think that's what it was, I don't remember, but $100-some thousand. That did not come from the lottery money, that came from the local funds. Okay, so I guess my understanding is that we're going to use the lottery money more, because we do have, the county commissioners, is my understanding, they have $1.5 million that the state, every year they put so much money in there, of course,
Right.
to every school, not just.
Right.
Now, how exactly that works? Does the bigger the school, the more money? I don't really know that part, but I know that we consistently have at least $1.5 million, but some of that money is being used.
Right.
But it's my understanding now that lottery money is going to be specifically used for projects now. I don't know how's that going to work, because
How's that going to affect your retention of bus drivers?
I don't know.
Stuff like that.
I don't know. There's going to have to be some rearrangements going on. We asked for other stuff like bonuses, a 1% bonus. As an example, those that are never out sick or whatever, they will be getting a 1% bonus. Stuff like that. We didn't get that. I asked for, and of course the board approved it. I asked for bus drivers to get a pay raise. We didn't get that either.
Yeah.
But then again, that goes back to, and you got to understand something. County commissioners, this is what I'm thinking. They might be privy to other information that the general population does not know. And maybe the reason why we didn't get the pay raises was because they knew what was coming down the pipeline. It's pretty much official now as far as the what the
You're talking about the state.
the state. I mean, we're talking about a significant pay raise, bonuses, The
So they got
biggest,
8% increase, with the largest going to the new educators. Starting teacher pay raises rise
To 48,000.
48,000, highest in the southeast for entry level. Yeah, I mean, we're all privy to that information if you follow the dry hearings that they have in Raleigh. They talk about it in the open. It's during
but this is
discussions.
official now because the governor signed this
Right,
into law.
right.
This is
And
a done deal.
This is done, right?
This is in black and white, and so I was really surprised that they actually got what they wanted as far as the. I'm gonna tell you what, and it was much needed. Law enforcement state wide, they got some very significant raises.
Oh yeah,
The SBI got a 20%, I think. Alcohol, yeah, SBI got a 27%. Highway got a 17% pay raise. Now,
ALE
3% pay raise, you don't even notice it.
Right.
A-
Well, not when, especially during Biden's year when it
Yeah.
was 6%, 7%
Yeah,
interest
now, a
every year.
20% pay
Or-
raise,
Yeah.
you're gonna see.
Oh yeah,
You're gonna see that. So I think we're gonna have to sort it out. I can tell you that much based on what we were allocated. It's been basically the practice, but now my only concern is going to be because they want us to use the lottery money specifically for projects. That's
right.
I don't know how that's going to work out.
I don't know that they can direct you to do that because the statute authorizes it for more than just
I
that.
don't know. Here's the whole thing. You know that if you have informed public officials, it's a little bit more complicated for others to try to force you into doing certain things.
Right.
And so we're being told something, and now we have to go back and research it and say, hey, no, that's not going to work.
Right.
Like
Well-
again, when we asked for the 1% bonus, for to use that as for those that never are absent, specifically the bus drivers,
Right.
because we really need them.
Right.
And if they, I thought it was a great idea. That was superintendent's idea. I bought into it real quickly. It makes sense to me, and they didn't give us that. We can't go back and sue them and say, hey, no, we want that 1%. And so,
Right.
unfortunately, this is how it is. The county commissioners have the power of the purse.
Right. And so that reminds me, that brings it up. Both times I ran for commissioner, I was strong on education, supporting teachers, supporting students, developing a robust education system for Hoke County. Because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what we owe our kids, right? Is the ability to learn, grow, and set them up for success. But everybody kept asking me, why aren't you running for the school board? Because I want to be who controls the money. Because then I can put money towards the problem.
Right.
I can help
That's right.
identify those areas.
And I'm gonna tell you this: I was really surprised and somewhat disappointed that when I was looking into some research, why we're not getting the money we should be getting to more effectively. Now there is a level of truth when they say the traditional public schools, that when you have problems, you just throw more money into it, and most
Right.
of the time you don't fix the problems. But it also has to do a lot with leadership. If you got good leadership, you do fix problems, and sometimes you fix them without the money,
Right.
and sometimes it helps to have the money.
You got to pay for the fixes sometimes, right?
And so I was really disappointed when I found out that as soon as the county commissioners, now follow me here, as soon as the county commissioners say, well, we're going to raise the taxes so we can give the school district more money, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to increase the taxes. How else are you going to do it?
Right. Well, and I mean, that's a valid point. At times where you have, so many competing requirements, you've got to prioritize one. And sometimes you do have to raise taxes a little bit. But talking about taxes, and this is an official document on the website signed by James Leach, chairman of the Hoke County Board of Commissioners, on 30th of June, one day prior to the deadline. But me being an editor, that's what I do for a living. It just jumped out at me. So under Section 3 on page 3, it says, this is hereby levied a tax at the rate of 75 cents, in quotations 0.73 per $100 valuation of property listed as of January 1st. So I'm just going to keep my eye out because it says in text 75. It says in in dollar amount 73. So we'll see what's official. You know what I mean? 'Cause it's signed, so there's two competing tax rates in the same document. It's a grammatical error. I mean, I understand it, but
let's hope that's what it is.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But that's just, I mean, just I hate to say it, but that just shows you another level of the competence of the county. Can't even write a 10-page document without a significant error. I mean, when you're talking about tax rates,
and that's significant,
and you're saying, oh, we'll write out 75, but we put 73, and then the chairman signs it. He obviously didn't read it.
Yeah.
Another rubber stamper, right?
That's what it boils down to.
That's what it sounds like it boils down to.
You got to trust, but you got to verify. That's one of the things that I do is that I trust, but I also verify, because I'm going to tell you this right now. Once the chair person signs, it's official. It's official.
It's just like the law, right?
I mean, can it
Just
come?
like-
Can they come back? But it's going to have to come back to the board. But then that's going to open up another can of worms. It's going to say, "Wait,
Why is it messed up?
You signed this?
You already signed it,
So,
right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to the $3.4 billion passed by the North Carolina legislature. We started hitting on it, 8% for teachers, 48 raising the starting teacher pay up to $48,000, which is the highest for the Southeast region. And that's what the way they compare, trying to do apples to apples. Okay, Georgia pays this, Alabama, Florida, whatever, and then state employees getting 3% plus bonuses. One thing is raises are not retroactive. This is one of those,
Well, they did that so they don't have to pay you back money.
Right.
And
Well,
traditionally they always did that, which really that really messes us up, to be honest with you, because we should have already got
missed
these
a year
raises a
of
while
raises.
back.
Yeah.
And they did not do this to benefit the employee.
No, it wasn't for the benefit
No,
of the employee.
no.
And then driver's license offices are going to have more staff. Education over $19 billion, the largest share of state spending, plus $1.1 billion more than the 23 budget. $36 million in unused opportunity scholarship funds. So everybody's talking about, opportunity. You're paying these kids to go to private school. They couldn't even spend all the money they had. So there's $36 million that was unspent.
Well, here's the thing. This is what people don't realize. Okay, it's all good and dandy that you say you want to take your child or children to a private school or to a charter school, but most of these private schools and charter schools, most of them don't provide transportation. It's very like Alpha Academy.
Right.
That started as a modular building and now to a big. They have a few buses, but not all private schools and charter schools have transportation. So when you go as a parent, I'm gonna go ahead and get this voucher, but this voucher covers the tuition of the student. It does not give you the money for the transportation.
Right.
So when you, it's not, I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, because we do have documentation to show that. It's my understanding that we have parents in Hoke County that transport their children all the way to Moore County to these charter schools. And you know what? That is not cost effective to me. You got to have a good income to be doing that.
Yeah, but then it's also just back to priorities. What do you want for your kid?
That is true.
And so, but back to it, we didn't use all the money since 23. We haven't used all the money. So $36 million is going back to public schools. Health and Human Services, 9.3, including $1 billion for Medicaid. They're fully funding Medicaid. I've seen people on social media talking about, the bad Republicans taking away, health care, yada, yada, yada. Health care in North Carolina, even for the poor, is fully funded.
But it's my understanding you have to work now or show that you're
there
working.
There are some work
something.
requirements, 80 hours either working or volunteering. I think it's 80 hours a month.
It can't be a week.
No, I know it's not. But I'm saying
yeah.
it's not 80 hours, 2 weeks.
Probably per month.
Yeah, it's 80 hours a month.
At least part-time. It was my understanding that you have to at least show that you're working or volunteering part-time.
Right. And then Hurricane Helena recovery, $700 million for infrastructure repair. Funds a new children's hospital in Apex. Personal income tax rate drops from 3.99 to 3.49 next year. And sports betting tax rises from 18 to 23. So that's that's what held up this whole budget process was the tax decrease percentage, because the way back in 2014, I want to believe, anyway, the Republican legislator set the income tax on a glide path, a downward glide path, to be at 2% by 2032, I think it is.
Yeah, it's somewhere here. Yeah, 2032.
It's 2032, yeah.
2.99 by 2032.
Yeah, and then so with that being said, these are automatic triggers. As long as they make a budget surplus every year, and they did, they put $1 million in this budget aside to the rainy day fund. After paying, spending $34 billion. However, that was the big rub, was the Democrats were saying, no, let's, taking away money that we could use for other programs. Republicans are like, just the way it's always been, get out of people's way and more people will go to work and make more
That's
money,
right.
and you'll raise your tax revenue, which has been demonstrated time and time again that that's actually how it works. So anyway, that was the big rub the past 2 years was, are we going to cut these? Are we going to stall them? Are we going to, cut or increase them? How are we going to do it? And they finally came together and said, we got to do something, because, state employees were getting jacked around. There's no doubt. For 2 years, that status quo, and we saw that the inflation was going up, prices are going up, and it just,
gas
a lot
prices
of people,
just went up from just yesterday.
Yeah.
It was 322, and today the same gas station it was at 365.
yeah. Well, we're bombing Iran again.
Yeah, they need to just finish the job.
We should have never stopped.
Yeah, it should have never stopped.
But-
Well, this is what happens when you shake hands with a person that's going to
With
be
the devil.
deceiving. Yeah,
Yeah.
the devil. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I meant to say that if you wanted to get more information on what we were talking about, you can look at, I think you can get it online too, the, what's it called? The North State Journal Hoke edition. That's where I found this information. It's very detailed. One of the things I didn't know was that assistant principals are also going to get an average of 6.3 increase.
Okay. I know that they were talking about, that was one of the debates too, whether, tenured, I say tenured, long term, they weren't getting as big a raise as the new people and this and that, and that was all back and forth. So that's kind of how it went.
Yeah.
But so local elections, all right?
Yeah, let's talk about
Let's
that
talk
for a
about
moment.
local elections. So the filing period for Hoke County Board of Education is open right now. And I was just informed today by the elections director that filing period is open until August 5th. Okay, somehow wires got crossed earlier and I put out July 15th. That's erroneous. It's August 5th is what she
Well,
she
there
emailed
was
me today.
other outlets, to my understanding, that they put out that it was. As a matter of fact, I just saw yesterday, maybe. I ran into the local journal and it said July
It said
the
the same
15th.
thing. Yeah, and like I said, I don't know where I remember reading that information, but I'll tell you that, and it's the Hoke County, it's the whole website. Hoke County, all the boards, all the departments, it's very hard to navigate.
It's not. I tell you, the Hoke County website, the government website, is not a friendly website.
It is not
and
at
I don't.
all.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just how it is. Depending on who maintains their
Well,
website.
I'll say it in a bad way. As a citizen, is trying to go find information.
It's very hard.
It's very hard. So
It's-
it is in a bad way.
it's
But
very
we have
hard.
4 candidates signed up so far.
Oh, there's 4 so far.
As of about noontime today, when I got the email, we have recurring candidate Roosevelt McPherson, Gwendolyn Robinson. Has she run before? I don't. That name doesn't sound familiar.
That does not sound familiar.
But I think Roosevelt did run the last time. Roosevelt is unaffiliated. I'll get back to that in a minute. Gwendolyn Robinson, a Democrat. John Harry, a Republican. And Gary
Which he ran before.
He ran before. And then Gary Brigman. So Gary Brigman was the athletic director at Hoke High.
Right.
And he just recently retired. Was it last year? Or
I don't think it's been that long.
Has it been that long? But so he's running and he's also registered unaffiliated. So talking about that, and I just bring that up.
And then don't forget
because
the other Neil McKinsey.
I didn't see that one. That's not what she emailed me today. Is that something
Well,
brand
maybe
new?
I'm not reading it right.
Yeah.
It's just I got a snapshot of it, so it might be. Oh no, this is the conservative. This is the water. Yeah.
Oh, water, soil.
Yeah, water.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was going to bring up the point that Roosevelt and Gary both have been Democrats up until the last election. Now they're unaffiliated, but they also voted in the Republican primaries.
Right.
So it just makes you wonder because, just like back when Hillary Clinton was running against somebody, Bernie Sanders, remember that?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, hey, vote for Hillary Clinton because she's going to lose and, blah, 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 whatever. And it was unaffiliated voters trying to manipulate the Republican election, by getting the stronger candidate, the weak candidate, whatever they felt at the time. But so I just, when I look at somebody that's been a Democrat for 30 years and now they're a Republican or unaffiliated, but they're voting Republican, I just kind of wonder their motives.
Well, here's the whole thing. Of course, what we're not saying is that you're not entitled to change that.
You're entitled to change whatever you want to do.
Your affiliation, but it begs the difference. Okay? I'm just going to call it for what it is. What was his name? Harry? Harry, when I ran, was a Republican. Later on, as I got to know him, I found out he used to be a Democrat. I say he did not win the last time he ran for a school board. Then somehow he ran again for, I don't know.
Commissioner, I thought.
I don't know what he ran for. He ran as a Democrat. I consider people like that flip-floppers. To me, I can't trust you. But I will say this about unaffiliated people. I will immediately know if you are a Democrat by just the way you talk. And I've heard people talk before, okay, and you can change your affiliation because you claim to be neutral. But here's the whole thing. Johnny Cash said this, and I'll never forgot it. I was in Panama in 1982. 83, and he said, you gotta stand for something or you will fall for anything. And that's the way I look at it. These people are changing the affiliation for what? That tells me a lot about these people, and I knew when I ran, I was unaffiliated when I was in the Army, but I had a major reason because you know how it is, company commanders, first sergeants, if they're Republicans and you're a Democrat, they're going to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so the safe side was always to be unaffiliated, but I was always a Republican because I stood on certain principles.
Right.
I'm pro-life, things like that, conservative, Second Amendment, all that stuff, so I knew that I was always a Republican. I changed my affiliation because when I decided to run for school board, I had to show people that I stood for something, that I was not a flip-flopper. And to me, unaffiliated people, especially if they change back and forward, they are flip-floppers.
So, ironically, North Carolina has one of semi-open primaries, what they call it. If you're Republican, you vote in the Republican primary, you're Democrat, and unaffiliated can choose either ballot. Some states, it's open primary, all the candidates are on one ballot, everybody votes for whoever they want to vote for, and then they have closed primaries, where if you're not registered for a party, you can't vote in the primary election. Because the primary election is for the party to nominate their candidate for the general election. So I think it was 2002, North Carolina changed the law to actually prohibit closed primaries, because before that, the Democrat and Republican state parties could decide. Right. They just go, hey, State Board of Elections, we're closing this primary. Yeah. And that's the way it was. But the legislature, and I think that reading back over the history, there were some Republicans were starting to come up in 2002. I think it's 2002, 2004, one of those election cycles. And what was Purdue? She was governor? Or was she?
Purdue.
Yeah. Anyway, Republicans were starting to get some strongholds, starting to get gains. So the Democrats moved to a semi-open with the idea that more unaffiliated were going to be Democrat-leaning. right? And so they changed the law that basically you can't have a closed primary, and now it's backfired. The past 10 years, it's all been Republican dominated at the state level, minus the governor and
Here's the sad thing about this. Okay, if you are a Democrat and you change your affiliation to unaffiliated independent, okay, that also tells me a lot. You're tired of what your party stands for, and you're not quite there to be a Republican, so you're gonna be sort of in the middle. That's the way I look at it. But you know what? I go back to what I always say. You got to stand for something, or you'll fall for anything.
Yeah, because the parties are definitely distinct. And
there is a major.
Last 5 years, there's really a big divide over what it means to be Democrat and have those ideals, and what it means to be a Republican.
And the way I look at it is that it's an independent, unaffiliated. To me, you are in the middle of that fence, and you can go either way. If you're a true Democrat, I know which way you're going to go. If you're a Republican, I know which way. But you know what? Here's the whole thing. In general election, I've known Republicans to vote for Democrats, and vice versa.
Vice versa.
But that's the beautiful thing about our election system.
That's it. You can vote for who you want to. Once you walk in the booth, that's it. I just wanted to make a note that this weekend, Scotland County is hosting a barbecue fundraiser. There's going to be quite a few state-level Republicans down there. And if you want any more information, just shoot Hope GOP Gmail an email, and I will make sure you get the flyer.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Well, make sure you follow us. Click the like button. Also follow us on our YouTube channel. We need all the help we can get from all our listeners. Whether you like what you hear or otherwise.
I want to argue about it.
Share, like, or discuss what we talk about. Give us some input if you want to. Still waiting for the museum, Rafer. I don't know what happened to it.
I don't know.
So anyways, until next time, I'm Ruben Castellon.
And I'm Chris Holland.
Getting to the facts across the state, around the world, and at home in Rayford, North Carolina. The Roundtable Talk podcast. Brought to you in part by Rayford Guns, the Hoke County edition of the North State Journal, the Libra Initiative of North Carolina, and our flagship station, WCLN Christian 105.7. Be sure to like, share, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. The Roundtable Talk podcast.